down. It's the 5th of April. I'm actually down the plot, so it's probably the first time you've seen me plot this year, I think. I can't remember if I've actually had the camera on here this year or not, I'm not sure. So we'll have a look at its current state. So I've been down and the raised beds are all re-timbered, apart from the potato bed. That's kind of, I just couldn't be bothered, to be honest. So I brought all this stuff over. So last half hour I've been lugging garlic over, Nebraskas, because they're going to go in. I know it's a cold snap, but they are shielded by the nets, and Nebraskas can take a bit of cold. I'm desperate to get them out, because I mean they've had just over 50 days now at home, so they've only got about the same again to actually finish. So you're kind of looking at end of May, early June, the heads will form. So they've got a lot of growing to do before they get that head forming, because I don't want a head forming on a small plant, because I had that last year and that was holding them back in pots too long. So weather's nice and sunny, but it's got a bit of a nip to the wind because it's a northerly wind. So road's a bit busy, so you'll have to excuse any noise if it's picking it up. So I'll get the camera and we'll have a look round at its current state before I get started on things. Right, first off, we'll start in the fruit cage. I don't know if you can remember, end of last year, there was a lot of green council compost that was dumped on here, and the owner said, help yourself, so I did. So instead of keep mowing the grass, I put a big layer on this. It doesn't seem to have affected me blueberries, so I'm hoping that there's none of this nasty weed killer stuff in this, otherwise I'm a bit up shit creek. But we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. But like I say, it's had 5 months on the soil, so hopefully things have been moving around and hopefully anything in it is broken down if there is anything in it. But things seem to be going okay. I pruned these a while ago. I'll take a few more spindly branches off the bottom, because if they start producing fruit down here, they're just going to touch the ground. I do want more branches to grow, but I don't want fruit down there necessarily. Concentrate the fruit on the upper branches. So these should start opening up soon, and then once all the flowers have dropped off, then I'll shut the fruit cage. I'm keeping it shut for now. I don't know, I might actually put something else in here this year as well. I don't know, I might, depends what I've got room for. Because it's a net, I don't know, I might even put some Brussels sprouts in here. If I've got the space, as long as I finish doing the blueberries. I mean, these usually finish by June, July, so I'm actually sort of interplant some Brussels sprouts in here. And I've got plenty of room. The fruit cage is closed, it should keep the butterflies off them, hopefully. But that's just an idea. Raspberries, got some polka, put 6 canes in there. This is like fresh manure, this, but what I did was basically got cardboard around the edge here, laid that down on top, put the fresh sort of manure on top there, and then in the middle I had some old wood chips, about 4-year-olds from an old tree we chopped up in the back garden, so I just put them down the middle. And this is the last attempt for raspberries on here. I used to be able to do them okay, but on here I don't know what it is, they do struggle. But that bed was sort of all done last year, and it had the beans in it. All the bean plants were chopped off and laying there, so plenty of nitrogen feed in there anyway. Nothing in that bed yet, it's still see what's happening with that bed. That'll probably end up being a bean bed, so that pea net will come down. Got the brassicas, they're all in these trays. I've covered them all with a net, because you never know, you get a random butterfly decide to come out. I've just seen a hedgehog, even though it's a bit cold in the daytime, so I don't know whether it's not so well or not. Asparagus bed, that's got stuff on top of it, and I don't know whether you can see, there is one that's starting to appear. So that's it, once they start coming up, they really start chucking up. So like I say, that I don't know what's happening with that bed yet. If I need the room desperately for something else, then the asparagus will go. Potato bed. So I've not done a full dig on it. All I've done is I've marked out these canes where the rows are going to go, and then I've just basically raked this mulch stuff that I put on just to the side, because I don't want to dig it in as such, because it'll still help suppress any weeds. So I rake it back to expose the actual soil surface, and then I dig a trench about 2 spades wide, just turn the soil over and then rake stuff back over the top, just to help it drain down a bit, because it gets that wet here, it still compacts, and the worms just drown actually, because it's been pretty flooded on here, and there's just like loads of worm bodies everywhere. So we'll have a look at the other beds. So they're all freshly timbered, they're only pressure treated, so they've not got anything painted on them. I might put some on them, I don't know, but it needs to dry out on here, and if I get a nice day in the summertime, clean the sides up with a brush and give them a coat with something. I just needed to get them done. You know, even if I only get 5 years out of them, I'll probably be too knackered to have an allotment anyway. But that one's had a bit of fertiliser in it, some onion fertiliser, well, allium fertiliser, so's that one. The plan is that's going to be garlic, 80 plants of garlic in there, and if I've got room, raw spring onions at the end. Now this bed never does that well, but I've not had alliums in that for quite a while, so should be right. All it is that shades that end a little bit, but we'll just see how it goes. This bed gets quite wet, to be honest. It needs some more chunky stuff put in it, you know, like straw, sort of medium, to loosen it up, because it does hold quite a bit of water, so I don't want things damping off. These beds, they were topped off with the stuff as well. I'll probably rake this loose, chunky stuff off, because it's just somewhere for slugs to hide, and dump that on my path, because it just helps to dry the path out, you know, because it is still quite stodgy. I mean, it was underwater when I came down last Friday, about 4 or 5 days ago. You know, it's still wet up there, but it is what it is, and we've got to crack on with getting stuff in. And then we've got these 2 beds here. I built the nets up ready, save me doing it when I'm planting, so they're basically going to be both brassicas. I've got a feeling I'm going to put the cauliflower in this one, and then the broccoli in that one. I know it's a lot of broccoli plants, but I can get 32 in that, or if I stagger plant them, I can get 28. I don't know. I'll see what I'll do yet. I've got enough broccoli. I haven't got quite enough cauliflower, but if there's room at the back, I've got excess of cabbage that I can't fit in this other bed, then I can drop them in. You know, because I'm kind of thinking I've got some of the Primo 2 and some called Rigoletto, I think it's called. It's a bit like a Savoy, which is like a small summery sort of early season Savoy. I could probably get, I know I can get 15 brassicas in one of these beds, so it'll either be 7, you know, a 7 of one and 7 of the other, or I might put, you know, an 8 one in one of them. I don't know, we'll see. I might just put like 2 in the middle and then stagger 6 each side, do it like that. We'll cross that bridge when we plant it up. I've no screwdriver drill with me today to build a net over this, but I've got a hand screwdriver, so I'll see if I can knock something up until I get down here. But I just need to get them brassicas in. It is going to get windy, so I just hope they can stand up to it. Right, so I'm going to crack on with something. I'll probably deal with that first, that soil. That's probably going to take about 2 hours, so I'm not going to film that. It's going to be boring, because I want to get it done and out of the way. Then it's got about 2 weeks to help dry down and for the worms to come back in before the potatoes go in, because I don't want to put them in too early, because they'll just sink down, because it is wet under there. You know, you get a spade deep and you're hitting the water table, you know, because there is a lot of like I say, there is a lot of sitting water, and that's a lot of the problem on it. It's sitting water, you know. I mean, like there, it's just absolutely stodge, but it has dried up a bit. That's the problem. It compacts and then bakes dry, and then it floods in. But if I allow the grass to grow too much, I seem to have more problem with leather jackets. Now, when I've had a good scuff at, I've scuffed the top of these basically with a 3-prong cultivator, just to loosen them up a bit, because they were a bit wet, just to help dry them out. I raked off some of the chunky stuff, which I just slung in the path down there. I didn't see any leather jackets, so whether that's because I kept the grass at bay last year, but I'm not taking any chances. That's why I still put all the drinking straws on the brassicas, because I don't want to lose any, especially not this sort of time, you know, because I'm hoping to get a double crop. But with the onion problem, you see, I was hoping to sort of have the onions in this bed, get them out by July, and then fill it up with brassicas and harvest them October. But obviously the problem I've had with onions, if I've re-sown some, they're not going to be out till like August, September, so that bed will probably just get shut down then. But, you know, these will be out. I don't intend planting any more brassicas until these 2 beds are empty, so these might have a rerun of brassicas again. It just depends how the first batch goes, if there's any problems. But the beds do need a good feed, you know. I've got a pH test with me in the van, but I'm not going to bother liming this year. I might lime it, you know, before I put the next crop in, because, you know, brassicas like a bit of lime, but they shouldn't be acidic or anything like that. It should be okay. I don't have any problem with club root on here. I don't really follow any really strict rotation. I mean, this bed here had brassicas in all over winter, so they've been out now for about 3-4 weeks. I took them out. So they seemed okay, and I left the beds exposed. Any slugs and that can get nicked off, but I will get some weeds on this bed because I can see them already. It didn't have as much put on this, it was just kind of top dressed. But once the canopy gets up over the brassicas and that, they'll block a lot of the light out. Right, so we'll get on with this digging that bit over. So there'll be a lot of puffing and panting, so you won't want to be hearing that. So I will put the camera back on when we actually start planting. Right, I finished digging over the potato bed, which was quite backbreaking, to be honest. I nearly thought, bugger it, I'll leave it. But, so I've marked the beds out. Had a bit of a change of mind with the cauliflower. I was going to do, you know, 4 rows, but it's cutting it a bit far because cauliflowers can, you know, they're quite a hungry plant. And I thought I'll do 8 rows of 3, so I get 24 in that bed, which I have enough if I brought all 24 with me. If not, I've definitely got 20 with me anyway. So just using a bulb planter. You don't have to, you can use a trowel if you want. It is probably easier if your ground's okay to actually directly do your garlic, because it's just a case of nice crumbly topsoil and just push it through, you know, the actual clove. But I started these off quite early, January I think I started them off. So because I do get rust here, you know, it's just inevitable, it comes every year. So it's just a case of get your bulb planter. These are like 3-inch pots. Just a case of twiddling it down. It is quite firm, this bed, but plenty of worms in it. You know, and that soil can go back on this bed, but I'll probably I'll leave it in the shed actually to dry out, because in case any seeds from down below, let it dry out a bit, and then I'll scatter it on next time I'm down. It's just a case of getting your garlic out of your pots and just plop them in. Just nestle them down. Doesn't matter if they're slightly deeper, because the garlic will actually pull itself into place. Because you'll know, if you've never grown garlic before, when you come to harvest it, it's got some bloody roots on it. So I'm not going to film all these, because it's I mean, you can go through and just do one at a time, but I prefer to dump all the holes out and then go around and drop all the plants in, because it actually looks like, you know, progress is pretty fast then. It doesn't take long once you've got everything marked and you've committed to your idea and you've got your plants ready. It doesn't take long to pretty much plant the whole plot up, to be honest. You know, it's nice that I think all the manual grafts kind of done now. There's probably something else to do, I don't know, but cross that bridge. So I'll do the rest of these, and then we'll have a look at the brassicas then. I'll tell you what, we'll do the spring onions while I'm up here. Just a case of, because at the end of that garlic row, I've got enough here, so I'll probably sow some more. I've got some that are slightly later sown spring onions, so I can put a later row here, so they're not all ready at once then. So you just go along here and you're 6 inches apart, something like that. You know, which I've already done. Yeah, get out of the way. And it's just a case of, I'm just going to put the guardsmen here. It's a case of push them out, like that. Nestle them in. You know, it doesn't take long to do these either. And then it'll not be long and you can start enjoying some spring onions. These are the multi-sown ones. I can't remember when I sold these. They're on a video anyway. Probably quite a while ago, probably February or something like that. I think I did these. Because the Ishikura are a bit poor on the germination side, but I think the second batch I've done, the Ishikura are a bit better. So I might, I've never grown gardening before, I don't think, so see how these get on up here. And if they do alright, we shall grow them again. If they don't, I won't. The Ishikura are okay. Just, you've got to keep sort of trying the odd different ones. I tried some red ones last year, but it was just like the skin was red and nothing else really. So that's them in. So I've got enough room here. I could put beetroot, which I've got some beetroot at home in some module things, so they could come down. It's just a little gap here. You know, I can get a good, what, 10 inches. The garlic spacing's 7 inches apart that way, and I've done them 10 inches apart that way, so they've got a bit more room than what I usually give them. But you know, the last few years the bulbs been getting smaller and smaller, so I thought I'd get them a bit to plump up a bit, then we're okay. Right, I'll carry on with these. Right, do this broccoli now. So I'll just show you how to do a broccoli. All the other brassicas have done exactly the same. These are sort of like 15 inch apart that way and 15 inch apart that way. So they get like a 15 inch square each, which is enough for most brassicas, you know, I think. Sometimes if you're doing them in a single row, they'll say like rows 3 foot apart. That's okay if you're growing in a conventional long row, but this is kind of a bit like a square foot type thing, but obviously on a bigger than a foot. You know, plant things in grids and blocks. You can do like the fibre dice, because obviously you get more space on a diagonal. You know, you could do that if you wanted to, and put something else there, like a lettuce that you can harvest sooner. It's completely up to you. The variety is Equeals. So like I said, I've got 32 going in this bed. Sounds a lot, but it'll load the freezer up. You know, I harvest the main head, and then you get side shoots for a good few weeks after. So, like I've explained before, drinking straws I have on because I have leather jackets. When I've raked these beds, I've not seen any, but I'm not taking any chances. I've just been chasing chickens off the plot actually, because they're on the land at the moment. So I left my gate open. Next thing there's 4 chickens roaming around. So I thought we'll get them off here. Otherwise, I'll be harvesting more than chickens if they start scratching away at the crops. Right, so like with brassicas, you plant them up to the very first true leaves, because you'll have the seed leaves. I've taken the seed leaves off these. I just snip them off to put straw on. The first leaves, when they germinate, you don't plant them to them. You need to come up to where these are the true leaves. You plant it right up to here, you know, and then once it's got a bit, you know, a bit more growth, you can hill up if you want, you know, to give them a bit more stability. So it's just a case of, you know, they're desperate to go out, these, so they need a good watering. Plenty of roots on that. It's just quite simply make a hole deep enough, and they do like a good firming down, but I don't want to firm these down too much just yet, because if I bury that straw, they'll get sheared off there. So I'll get on with the rest of these, and hopefully this wind won't get too bad. And once the net's down, they'll get a bit of shelter. But I just need to get them out, because it's getting to sort of like nearly twice a day having to water these now. So once they get in, get some roots out, they'll be fine. Right, I'll get on with the rest of these, because it's getting a bit chilly now. Right, that's everything planted that's getting planted today anyway. So we'll go down here, start down here. So I've ended up doing 6 of the Primo 2 and 9 of the Rigoletto. We're going to get a right good rock on off this wind. So I hope you can hear me alright, because the landowner's out spraying the field with summit. What he's spraying it with, I don't know, as long as he don't start spraying it over here. Get out the sunlight. That's the cauliflower, 24 in there. And then you've got all the broccoli in there, and the garlic over there. So it's begun finally. So I'll probably give it a week and then come back and see if there's been any disastrous damage or anything like that, and then think about putting these peas in. So all there's left to do now is drop these nets down, just put a net over that one, and I'll just get my 3-pronged cultivator and give this a bit of a knockabout down here just to loosen it up, ready for when peas come. So on that note, it's been a nice day, no rain for a change. So thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next video. See you now.